Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Talk podcast. Streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, anywhere you stream your podcast, or we are here on YouTube, Girls Gotta Talk podcast. Today's episode is a special, I don't want to say a special episode, it's a special upload. As of currently right now, like as I'm recording this, I have about an hour and 58 minutes until my birthday. Entering the last year of my 20s. Next year, I turn the big 30. And it's kind of weird to think about now because as I grew up, like 30s sounded really old. Like, when you're like 10 and people are like, oh, like 30. And I'm like, that's old. Like, now that I'm about to hit 30, like I realize it's not really that old. And if someone called me old, I'd probably get pretty offended. But I don't know, like I'm an adult now, like an adult. Like they say you're an adult when you're like 18 technically, but I feel like turning 30, like I'm an adult. Granted, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, but I'm, I guess, almost fully an adult, now. Um, and I feel like a lot of people have talked about not wanting to turn 30. Like no one wants to leave, like, I don't know, I feel like people are going to say the same, like if I was 39, like, oh, I don't want to turn 40, but I haven't really had that yet. I don't know if like this time next year I'll be like, oh my God, like 30, that's crazy. But I don't know, like I haven't had a moment where I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to turn 30. Oh my God. I say I'm old probably at least like 10 times every day. I feel like I'm turning 30, but my body feels like it's like 90 sometimes. I don't know. It's just sometimes I feel like super old, and other times I'm like, yeah, I'm literally only 30 years old, or almost 30 years old, 29. But anyways, um I feel like as you grow up, you're kind of always thinking about like what, I don't know, maybe not, like it depends on what age you're at, but like what career path am I going to go down? Like what am I going to do with my life? Granted, like I said, almost 30 and I still have no idea what I'm doing with my life, so probably wasn't too much to be reflecting on because I clearly haven't figured out anything in life yet. But I've also come to the realization that I've gone through half of my 20s with a child. And to me, that's kind of crazy to think about. I have, probably really weird to say, I've had this thing where like I've basically said like my cutoff for myself for children was 30 years old. So I don't know. I don't know why I kind of set that for myself. Granted, if I ended up for some reason getting pregnant after 30, like I'm not going to be mad about it. Like it's not one of those things where it's like, oh my God, I didn't want this to happen. But I always had said in my life that my cutoff for children was 30. Guess we'll see how it goes. But I don't know. Like my 20s have been half with a child, half without a child. I had JJ at 25 years old, so literally smack dab in the middle of my 30s. Um Crazy to think about. 2022 is when JJ was born. 25 years old, and now we've gone through daycare. He had his first day of pre-K today. Like first day of preschool, and he's just growing up, and it really does go by really fast. You hear a lot of people talk about like time flies and don't blink because like next thing you know they're gonna be all grown up. And for real, I was looking at him today and I was like, you really had your first day of pre-K today. Like this is so sad but so nice, but so crazy. But like don't grow up on me. Like he's just like the sweetest soul little boy you'll probably ever meet. He's starting kindergarten in a few years. I think he's gonna have a few years because I think he has to be 5 to start kindergarten. So I don't think it's gonna be next year because by the time school starts, in 2026 he'll only be 4, so I think he'll have to wait another year. So I at least have another year of him before he starts kindergarten. Then I will probably be in full mental breakdown mode because I'll have a kindergartner, and that'll be crazy. That'll be a crazy time. But I don't know, we've just obviously gone through so many different milestones between newborn. Potty training was, I would say, an experience. I thought it was going to be a little harder. He's just so funny when he like has to go to the bathroom sometimes. Like, gonna expose my 3-year-old real quick, but he's such a closet pooper. Like, every time he would have to poop when he was in a diaper, he would always go and hide. And like, if you're ever wondering where he was, like, he had to poop. But now, like, he'll play potty training, and I'll put him like on the potty. He has like a little potty. He sits on like the big toilet, if that makes any sense at all. And I'll like put him on there, and he'll look at me and he'll just be like, "Mommy, can you get out while I go poop?" And I'm like, "You're always gonna end up like pooping by yourself. You're such a closet pooper." It's so funny. But yeah, potty training and learning how to walk, learning how to talk. He, I swear, has like, he tries to have such grown man conversations sometimes. And I'm like, first of all, like, who do you think you are? Like, his tone sometimes is crazy. He tries to have conversations, like, he tries to have like full conversations where, like I said, he's 3, so like sometimes it doesn't make as much sense as you probably think it would, but he tries. He really sits there and tries to have a conversation with you like he's a grown man. Sometimes he's butting into conversations he really doesn't need to butt in with, but sometimes it's really funny and I can't help but laugh. And other times I'm like, you need to step back. Like, you need to realize that you are 3 years old. Don't know if you realize that, but sometimes like the conversations he has, or like makes comments or like little remarks almost about, I'm like, where do you learn this from? So it's definitely a time. Like, once I feel like you like go through a phase where you like want them to talk, that way like you want them to let you know like what's wrong or what they need or what they're looking for and blah blah blah. And then they start talking, and then they go through different phases. They go through phases of they're trying to talk and you actually have to sit there and figure out what they're saying. JJ went through his why. I'm not going to say was. He still kind of goes through his why phase. You say something, he's like, why? And then you give him an answer, and he's, why? And then you give him an answer to that, and he's, why? Like, everything is just, why? I feel like I've seen that in, I don't know, like, some people I follow have kind of posted their kids doing that. I didn't know that was actually going to be, like, a thing until JJ started going through it, and I was like, oh, we're in this phase. Got it. Perfect. Sometimes I have the patience for it, and sometimes I do not, and I feel bad because sometimes I'm like, stop questioning me. But then I'm like, oh, like, his mind is going to wander and question a lot of things. That's kind of how he's going to grow, kind of how he's going to learn. So part of me sometimes has to like remind myself to take a step back and just kind of answer any questions that he's asking or like trying to ask. So when he says why 10 million times, like, yes, I want to be like, okay, like, no more. But other times I'm like, he's probably genuinely curious and he's going to have a crazy imagination, and I don't know, like, he's just going to be a curious little kid. I feel like he's so smart. He gets so smart, and sometimes I don't honestly know like where he gets it from, but I'm really proud of him and the way he's learned and adapted to some things. So if it comes down to me answering 9 million whys over honestly who even knows what, like, so be it sometimes, even though sometimes I want to rip my hair out because he's asked why 9 million times. And at this point, like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know, like, I don't have an answer to that, buddy. And he's like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, why? And I'm like, oh, I don't, like, I'm at a dead end here. Like, I don't know how to answer you anymore. So at that point, that's when I try to steer the conversation and like start something else. But yeah. Um, I feel like I also kind of reflected on relationships. I actually was in my first relationship in my 20s. I turned 20 in 2016, and my first relationship I actually had in 2017 to like the end of 2018. Like that one really wasn't that long, but around my 21st birthday, I turned 21 in 2017. And then in 2019 is when Julian and I started dating, which, if you don't know, is JJ's father. We dated from 2019 to 2023, like almost the end of 2023, and now we're in 2025. I don't know. I don't want to say like I was never looking for relationships, but I clearly didn't have any in high school. I had my first boyfriend outside of school. Like I said, we started dating in 2017. I graduated high school in 2014. So even like through high school and even a few years after, I never got into a relationship. And like, obviously, like growing up and you see a lot of people dating and going out with people and blah, blah, blah. And you're always like, wow, like, when is this going to happen for me? Blah, blah. When am I going to find someone? All that yada, yada stuff. I don't want to say like I wasn't upset about it. Like, obviously, like if it happened, it happened. But like looking back, I'm not upset about it. Like, I feel like rushing things just doesn't turn out well in any situation. Never was really rushing, and I'm honestly gonna say I never really put myself out there for relationships. Obviously I did, or not obviously, but I did talk to people here and there, but I don't know. So nothing really happened for me until 2017. Like I said, that only lasted about like a year, a little more, and then Julian and I were together for 4 years. Um, had JJ like halfway through. Like I said, started dating in 2019, had JJ in 2022, and then we broke up in 2023. I feel like in my 20s as well is honestly where I stepped out of my comfort zone the most, I think. Obviously, with this whole podcast within itself, but I feel like also with YouTube and I don't know. I feel like growing up and especially like in my teens, I was definitely a very, very, very shy and quiet person. I still kind of am, but honestly, like if you knew me then, I feel like I don't want to say worse, but I was definitely more shy and quiet back then. I do still try to work on putting myself out of my comfort zone, but I feel like I've kind of done a pretty good job. Honestly, I wouldn't be talking here and all over the internet if I didn't, but I don't think I would have posted any of these episodes, any of the content I have on YouTube, any like I mentioned it a million times, making like short form content, reels and like shorts for YouTube, all that stuff. I definitely would never in a million years have posted that, especially in high school, but never even like a couple years out of high school. I don't think I ever would have gotten myself to post any of that. So I'm so happy I finally like pushed myself and took that step into that direction of actually kind of embracing that and embracing the fun and kind of, I guess, that creative side. I don't know. I never thought I would find this creative side of myself, but I've actually been having a lot of fun going through all of this. So, definitely a crazy ride, but very, very thankful that I've gotten to this point. Um, I feel like growing up, I actually was the type of person that always thought about like, I just said I wasn't looking for boyfriends, but then again, I'm like, what age like do people get married at? Like, what age is too old to get married? And as I'm growing up, I'm like, yeah, you could literally get married at any time in life. You see people that'll get married super young. You'll see people who get like anywhere between like 20s and 30s. Well, I would say like 20s used to be considered young, like when you're 20, 21, 22. I feel like now it just kind of happens more often than it used to. I feel like that's just generations now. Um, I feel like I don't want to say like it's kind of standard, but I feel like I've seen it enough times to just be like it's I don't know how to explain it. Like it's just the age. And I feel like I said you can get married at any time. Like there's people that get married in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s. Like marriage is actually a crazy thing once you kind of grow up and kind of look at it. I feel like as a kid, marriage was crazy and you were like, ew, like when you hear kids and you're like, ew, like I don't want to kiss anybody, and then like realizing you're gonna sit there and kiss the love of your life in front of everybody. Like it's just one of those things you kind of look at obviously different as you grow older, but like even sitting here at almost 30, not married, never was married. It's not one of those things where you look at and you're like, "Oh, I'm 30, like I'm never going to get married." Like no, like it could still happen. Am I really like looking and being like, "Oh, I need to get married." No, but I don't know. I feel like it's just one of those life milestones you just kind of think about as a kid, and then as you grow older, you're just kind of like, maybe it's just me. Like if it happens, it happens. If not, like it is what it is. Like I don't know. In my head, it's kind of one of those if it's meant to be, it will be situations. I feel like another like life milestone I kind of mentioned before is like, what am I gonna do for a career? Like as you grow older, it's like, where will I be living? I to put completely out there, let's be full transparent here. When Julian and I broke up, we were going separate ways. We kind of lived together until the lease in the apartment we were living together in ended. And then we went separate ways. He went to his own place. And I honestly didn't find anything before it was time for us to move out. So I am back at my parents'. I feel like growing up, everyone always looks forward to leaving their parents' house, leaving their childhood home. And once you leave, you think it's like such a failure or such worst case scenario if you have to go back to your parents. It's very up and down for me. Granted, I'm very thankful I was able to go back because I didn't have a place to go to and couldn't find a place for myself. But at the same time, like, do I wish I did have a place for myself? Absolutely. I'm such a person who sometimes just likes to be like by myself. Granted, love my family, but I don't know. Sometimes I wish I just had a place of my own to kind of settle into. I also start to feel really bad because sometimes like I do get home very very late and I also like I feel awful because then I'm waking up the whole house. Like I walk in and of course the dog starts barking. It could be anywhere from like 10 11 p.m. to like 1 2 in the morning. Like literally as I'm recording this, yesterday I got home at 2 a.m. I'm waking up the whole family and I feel really bad. So granted, if I had my own place, I mean, I don't know if I'd be getting home that late if I had my own place under circumstances, but I I wouldn't be waking anyone up. Like I would just be entering my own place and I don't know, like it's just it hits different when I think of things like that. Like granted, do I mind being home? Not usually, but at the same time, like I do really wish I had my own place to kind of settle into, especially at night, especially when I'm going to bed. Sometimes in the morning because I don't know, honestly, like I'm a big fan of slow mornings. So the fact that I can just stroll out of bed and kind of be like almost to myself to get myself up before I like function and like I'm around people is my cup of tea. But again, it is what it is for life right now. That's just where I'm at. Hopefully, it'll change kind of soon. We'll see where everything takes me and where, honestly, if I freaking get my life together. But of course, I would really like, I also like want my own place, honestly, just kind of decorate and make my own, if that makes sense. I feel like that was very exciting when I did live in the apartment, because just kind of making it homey and like a place you like being at is definitely so much fun. I enjoyed that a lot, actually. So I don't know, that's just a little thing, a little perk of looking forward to and having your own little space. But yeah, I feel like in my 20s, being financially responsible and smarter with my money could have probably been a lot better. I feel like at one point, I guess it probably wasn't too bad, but looking at it now, probably not doing the best. And I always like talk to myself and I'm like, you need to do better. You need to stop. And then I step out of my house and decide anything I'm doing now it involves a coffee because I left my house. Like, it's one of those things, like you see those memes and it was like you step outside and like all of a sudden you breathe and you've already spent like $1,000. Yeah, it's for real. That's like adulthood. I am one of those people that feel like every time I leave my house, I can't do anything without having at least a coffee, if not like an energy drink. Definitely something I try and always tell myself I need to buckle down on, but here we are. Clearly haven't gotten too far with that one and self talk and pep talks for myself, but hopefully this last year of my 20s will put me in the right spot for that. But yeah, anyways, moral of this whole episode is 20s have been a wild ride. Definitely some ups, definitely some downs. Couple career changes, couple relationships, child. Yeah, I guess we'll see where this last year of my 20s takes me. Hopefully a lot up, more up than down, but again, that's life. That's the wild ride we're living in right now. But with that being said, that is all I have for this episode. I love you guys so, so much. I thank you guys always so much for listening, and I'll see you back soon with, or not see, you'll hear me back soon with a brand new episode. Bye.